All right, this is a talk about art, and I'm just going to jump right into the middle because I want to keep it short so there's no context about why we're doing this or what we're doing or who's. We're just going to go with it, and then the whole end part about the value and the point and the meaning and why we should, I'm skipping that too, so it's just the center of the piece. The first time I went to Burning Man, I was like, what? This is stupid, but there were a lot of exceptions to that rule. And one of them was that after the shopping cart art car with neon light up and been going out every day, on Thursday night, they had a whole group of people dressed as bananas. And they sat there for about an hour dancing around with their LED lights. And then they just rolled out. And then they were just bananas in a fucking shopping cart. And I'm like, what the fuck? Did you have that the whole time and you just busted it out? And why bananas if you planned it? Or did you meet those people and then you suggested it? Or did they suggest it? How did you do this? What the fuck happened there? Bananas in a shopping cart almost makes sense, but doesn't make sense. It's like it's a reference to something, but I don't know what. I thought it was really cool. Art cars do this thing where they go and they interact with art. And they go and they bring the boring art car next to the awesome fire mandala motherfucker. And they're like, wow, your shit sucks. And then the mandala has to deal with that artistically and be like, people will criticize you and you need to live up to that. Or they'll be like, oh no, we're lame for a minute because the boring art cars made a better joke than we did. And a lot of art cars will just plug into each other and play music, which is also a lot of fun. So art cars have been doing this for a long time where they interact with their environment by driving up next to it and putting a frame on it, creating a contrast. A contrast. There's this problem that happened. It's really a much broader problem than something that happened one time. But one time there was some party somewhere, which was a great party, and the main stage act thingamajig was that the basic joke was supposed to be that trying to be a unicorn was lame, and the people who were behind it are like, hey, let's not try to fit in, let's be ourselves, it's cool. But what they did was they put this beautiful giant monster on the stage, said it was sexy to be unicorns, and then gave them all the means to become unicorns, and they just all dolled up and went with the flow. And the thing is, why the fuck not? So the people who are orchestrating it want to say no, but the people who are receiving it are like, I don't know, let's do it. And I think that's because they all want to become participants. Spectator or participant want to become more participant, and they're just like, I don't know how. They're looking for an avenue, and so you give them one like, hey, let's be unicorns, and they're like, okay, I'll do it. Sounds good to me. Or you give them one like, laugh at the thing or respect the thing, and they're like, hey, I'll try. They're just trying to be game. A lot of spectators want to be participants, and I think that there's also this fucked up dynamic we don't like to talk about, which is that there's rising production value throughout our world and exclusivity. And both of those can be a barrier to participation. It's not as easy to just walk in and say, hi, I'm a random person, let's play silly games and dress up like... Is that like Swamp Thing that has Cthulhu following it as like an art wagon? Anyway. We're maybe refining raw material here. But anyway, we're trying to, transition people from spectator to participant. And I think that this comes down to this really core principle of partying and festivals, which isn't discussed very much, which is the positive fun externality. Externality is a concept from economics, and this is usually used to describe pollution and when you hurt other people because you make a deal that's bad. But that's a negative externality, and so you do something that helps you but screws everyone else over. This is a positive externality, in particular it's about fun. This homie playing video games on the old computer, wow, you are having a really plus time, and us, we're really like not. Are you actually parked in the middle of the living room or like our hangout and you're like playing a computer and not talking to anyone? This is like as a bicyclist, people who are wearing headphones on the sidewalk and they're walking and you're riding around them and you're like, okay, you're kind of not here. What we like when we do together things is the positive fun externality, which is good for you and good for us. And so this homie who is hop hula dancing with the special rodeo horns, that's cool, thank you. So here are some direct contrasts. You ready? T-shirts and jeans at a party versus cool outfits. Whining, and silly talk. Whining is annoying and silly talk is great. Put downs and positive vibes. Binge Netflix in the living room versus superfluous love drugs. Takers versus makers. Tuna breath versus brandy breath, BO versus BO, well, like good BO, and woo woo, like stupid versus woo woo, that's awesome. So, okay, my distinction is basically just like very qualitative, good versus bad. I don't really know what's good and bad, but I will say that we do try to do good. And when we do that, then we can become a contribution to everyone instead of just like, oh, I have a science hoodie on. Your party is cool, thanks. And you're like, wow! So I think there's this thing called inter-art action, which is when you have action between the arts. And we could also call it an art hookup, perhaps, or maybe an interruption, interdisruption. And here, I guess there's an illustration which shows these strange people in their weird hoods, and they're saying, Hotep has our Ankh! And the crazy motherfucker in the mummy costume is, running away with their fucking Ankh. And then over here's their Sphinx little, art project, and sounds great. This is a thing, okay? Art on art action, open world, interdisruption, art hookup. I don't know, call it what you want to call it. It's pretty great. Some examples that are just familiar to me, like it's not about me, but this might help you get thinking about this, is that there was a Pantone themed party, and then there was a plaid protest, and then there was a purgatory zone, which was all for people who were wearing white and black, which are not Pantone colors, because the Pantone party said it had to be a color not white or black, so they specifically broke the rule, whereas plaid just questioned the existence of rules. That was art on art action. The plaid protest was a pretty substantial art project that was extremely well executed, and they had great outfits and a catalog of different pieces and a crew and then Purgatory was this structure with a milk fountain in the center and a disco ball. Everyone's wearing white suits. Like the Smutridge Museum, this was a museum at a party, and we went and stole artifacts from native people, and the native people were already playing native people, and we were playing the evil museum that stole things. So the Playa Choir, I think, is a typical one. I don't know. I have a lot of experience with this one. You set up a cool space with a fire pit and some benches, and these homies show up, and they're like, hey, it's like Wednesday evening at, 7:30. Are you ready for a song? Do you welcome that into your space? And you're like, totally. Bust it out. And then they sing you a couple songs. It's great. Piñatas, say that you were to make piñatas and bring them to a party, and you could have like a clock that went to the workplace where you got a job, and then you go and set up the clock, and everyone would smash it, and everyone would be fired. Or like a radio station at a party. Anyway, but I think that like a fire spinning jam, or even a dance floor has the same potential. Let's say community painting also. Give one, take one boxes. There's a lot of it. It's not like original. I'm just saying it's a thing. And in particular, there's some known genre matches, which is the bananas in the shopping cart. Group costume in a vehicle equals really crazy, right? Like that's how the movies taught us to have fun. Performance plus a venue is classic. Character plus an activity. I'm sure there's more known genre matches, and I would like you to draw them in here. Just freeze your screen, take a screenshot, draw them in, and then email them. I think, though, that there's some facts about it that we have to acknowledge, which is that there's steeper requirements for inter-art action. Here, like Indiana Jones is stealing someone's shit. You have to be informed. You have to know a lot to bring art to a place and not know what the fuck the place is. And you didn't study this place in school, so I don't fucking know. What can you interact with? What can you not interact with? Who is get a fuck away, we don't need that, and who is this is great, and what kind of questions do they welcome? Who should you talk to determine that? Is there a lead of the project? Should you get a vibe from them? Should you test it 1 year and then go back? How hard are we being on ourselves, and how soon do we get to do something? Also, all of the basic artist info is still required. You still have to know about power and site and tickets and fire safety, and all your typical rules of art production are still there. There's just all bonus on top. So second, you have to be polite. You're potentially a vandal, which, I don't know, could be fun. There's definitely some vandalism I've appreciated. I don't know if the original creator did. Generally, vandalism is considered a no-no. Maybe you're a bully. I hope not. So you should get some consent, or I don't know, get full consent, or wow, I don't know. At the Smutridge, we solved this one where we stole people's artifacts like Indiana Jones. We had some rules that we sort of followed that were super strict about how you have to be way in their face with documents and stamps. And then third, you got to make it easy for the collaborator, because good Christ, they do not want to try that hard. Damn it, they're busy already. And how can they even trust you if they don't trust their own people? Everyone's flaking. So anyway, as you can see, we're out of slides because we're also out of time, because you just listened to, 9:29 of that shit? Fuck that. You probably skipped here. And so then, let's review. Boom, the bananas are good. There's all these requirements. There's some matches. There's some examples. This is the name of the thing, or that, or that, or that, or that. What is up is that we're always trying for this. Some people did that, and this was also a thing that happened once. Peace.